Welcome back to Peace, Love and Tarot. This reading is for Cancer, Sun, Moon or Rising. And Cancer, this is your monthly intuitive tarot reading for February 2020. So what we'll be working with today is we have the beautiful Yogic Path Oracle deck from Sahara Rose. I have Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle, and we have the classic Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck here as well. Now I'm going to pull the cards on camera now, guys. This process can take a while, generally anywhere between sort of 5 minutes on average, up to even 8 minutes, because I let the cards fall. So if you don't want to stick around for that process, and you want to go straight to the reading of the cards, use the timestamp in the description below, although I will give a bit of a commentary as the cards come out. So let's get started. I just want to call in angel spirits and guides and ask for the clear and concise messages to come through for the collective of Cancer. Start with this oracle deck here, Yogic Path. It's a really beautifully illustrated deck, this one. So many nice colours. So can we have one card, please, for the collective of Cancer? Well, we've got two. Now, if two cards come out, I usually keep them, but if large stacks come out, guys, it's usually just the energy of the cards. So we have Krishna and Tapas. So we'll come back at the end and read those in full, but we've got two beautiful cards here. Alright, we'll get on with the other oracle deck. Work Your Light to get a more traditional oracle message. One card, please, for the collective of Cancer for February 2020. Here it goes. We have yes. Oh, well, this is a very clear message when this one comes out. It just means don't overthink it. The answer is yes. So if some of you have had a burning question that you want the answer to, the universe is saying that this month the answer is yes and to go for it. Okay, let's go to the tarot deck. And we're going to start with the recent past position. And we're going to select two cards or allow two cards to fall. Guys, I don't choose the cards because I believe that it's your energy choosing them, so it's too many. Just allow them to come out on their own. So the idea, it's not my energy choosing them. The cards are very, very animated here. It's your energy. Sometimes they're resistant and they take ages to come out. Other times they come flying, and then, as you just saw before, sometimes the deck is just very out of control. Okay, it's two. It's a whole stack that's turned over. Okay, we have the Two of Cups. Something to do with a partnership situation, soulmate, twin flame energy. Not necessarily in love. Oh, we have the Queen of Cups now. An emotional situation with a partner. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be a close friend or colleague or someone in the workplace that you have a deep connection with. Okay, one more for the current energies. So Hanged Man, maybe needing to see things from a different perspective, maybe a sense of feeling a little suspended or stuck in the situation. One more, please, for current energies for Cancer for February 2020. I was jumping. Yeah, oh, okay. Some of you are potentially moving on from the seeking greater emotional fulfillment elsewhere. Okay, we'll go to near future outcome position. Two cards, please. Keep seeing the world in here, flicking by two, guys. Okay, so Eight of Swords. Yeah, okay, so there could be some kind of mental prison associated with it, low self-esteem. Some of you might have, been feeling like a bit of a victim in this situation. That's why it's really time to move on. I saw her come out before too, or jump in the deck. The Empress, beautiful energy. She is your new beginning, new manifestations, a strong new start here. She can really help you create something else for your life. Okay, we're going to ask for advice from Spirit or Tarot, please. Two cards for the collective of Cancer. Too many, guys. Okay, maybe getting in a position where you can receive again. Maybe you're in a situation where you're over-giving in this partnership. Bringing those universal scales back into balance. Now, one more card, please. For the collective. Oh, there's two there. Yeah, we definitely have a situation of moving on here, and such a strong theme of getting back into balance as well. Okay, I'm going to pull one more for this Two of Cups and Queen of Cups recent past position, just to get a little bit more information. So, angels, spirits and guides, can you please give us one clarifier for the Queen of Cups and the Two of Cups? Whoa, oh, there was the moon. Could be something going on in the shadows, something behind the scenes. I just saw the Seven of Swords as well. One card, please, for the collective of Cancer. Doesn't want to come out. Could be a truth that needs to be revealed. Oh. Okay, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Something karmic here. Just going to go for one more. I think it's the end of a karmic contract, guys. Just quietly. Huh. Okay. Four of Swords at the bottom of the deck definitely relates to this theme of rebalancing, needing to heal before you can move on. Okay, Cancer, I'm going to set these up a little bit nicer for you. See you back here in just 2 seconds and we'll read the energy of the cards. Okay, welcome back, Cancer. Let's read the energy of the cards. Just to reiterate what we have here, in your recent past position, we have the Two of Cups. We have the beautiful Wheel of Fortune. We have underneath there the Queen of Cups and the Ace of Cups as well. Very interesting. In your current energies, we have the Hanged Man and the Eight of Cups. We have in your near future outcome position, we have the Eight of Swords, and I drew another card actually just before I came back on camera, and there's the King of Swords under there, along with the Empress. In the advice from Spirit or Tarot, we have the Six of Pentacles, Temperance, and the Six of Swords underneath there. So interesting reading. Yeah, we do have moving on energy here, guys. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are, you know, leaving this partner, the soulmate. You could be leaving the nature of it, how it is, and transitioning the situation. But for many of you, it will be moving on, because we see potentially a greater love, that missing cup coming in for you if you do create the space for it. So let's go here to the recent past and uncover what we have here. Yeah, so first of all, we will go with the Two of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So yeah, look, I mean, obviously we are dealing with some kind of energy to do with a close partnership, soulmate, twin flame energy. For the majority of you, I do feel this is in, you know, the realm of romantic relationships, but it doesn't have to be. Can be, like I said before, a very close friend, family member, someone that you're collaborating with in partnership, a business partner, a, you know, creative project partner, that kind of thing. But with the Queen of Cups here, you know, what I'm really feeling is that potentially there could have been some instability in the situation, and that's why you've been wondering, you know, whether you should stay or go, and looking for a sense of enlightenment on, you know, how to move forward with the situation, what to do. Because the Queen of Cups is, you know, really talks about being in a place where you can be unshakable. And I guess the downside of the Queen of Cups, if she was, you know, out of power, out of balance, she can indicate emotional instability. So I feel that, you know, what you're really wanting is to find a really solid sense of love and partnership, one that you can be your beautiful, mature, compassionate self. You know, because this is probably likely your energy here as well, Cancer. I think that's what you are really looking for. One where you can be unshakable, because the Queen of Cups is somebody who can have, you know, one foot in those waters of life, you know, right on the shoreline of tumultuous emotions, but she just stays focused, she stays calm, and she stays, on that throne, and those cliffs behind her are just not coming down. She also, carries her emotions in this beautiful gilded cup, and she chooses when she lets them out, when she processes them, because she's the master of emotional management, emotional intelligence. She doesn't allow her emotions to control her, to rule her. Some of you might have been in a situation with a partner that triggered you and maybe made you feel like you weren't in control of your emotions. And that could be the reason why, you're contemplating, moving on from the situation. Or maybe, that cup of love that we see in the Ace of Cups just wasn't full. There was something kind of missing in the situation. It's what I'm feeling. There's a piece of the puzzle that wasn't there. And I think, when we move on to this Eight of Cups, that's what we'll talk about, because I feel like there is a key piece of emotional fulfillment that is just not within the situation. So you are going to, a lot of you are either going to change the nature of that situation or move on to find it. And I think, you're like this Queen of Cups, where I think you've maybe determined what that missing piece is, and you're really focused on it, and you're going to do what it takes to get it. Because divine timing says, the universe says, it is time for you to go after that missing piece, to find your Ace of Cups, to have a cup that is fulfilled and overflowing, and fulfillment on all of the sensual levels. The Ace of Cups can talk about making a transition from a darker time in order to find this love. Maybe some of you have been through quite a challenging relationship. It could be twin flame energy, because these are lotus flowers on this pond here. And if you know about the lotus, it starts its journey from the mud as that little lotus seed, and it transitions, makes the journey up through the water, following the light before it opens up into that bloom on the surface. So it's like, okay, you will find that missing piece, but maybe it comes after, after quite a journey, after quite a search, after, making your journey from the darkness into the light. But the universe says that it is time. The time is now, and potentially this situation that you were in was a karmic contract that needed to play out. It could be that there was an essential life lesson that needed to be learned, but the energy is saying, in its current form, it's complete. You have learnt that lesson. It is time to either change the nature of it significantly if you think you can stay in it, or move on to your next karmic contract. The Wheel of Fortune is about the tables turning. It is a luck change, and that is ready to come in for you. It's also said to have a 10-year energy. Some of you may have been in this situation for the majority of the last decade, and the decisions that you make now are really going to set you up for your next decade and set you up to be in a position to receive this. Because, which one should we go through first? We'll go to the Hangman. We'll bring the Ace of Cups back in soon. I really love that card. The Hanged Man, I feel like this is in your current energies for February, that you've been in this position of stalemate, maybe a little bit stuck for a little while. I think you really deeply care about this person, but I think you're aware that you've gone as far as you can in this situation. So the Hanged Man is suspended from that tree of knowledge, waiting for the enlightenment of how to move forward in this situation. And, as you, reflect on the situation, look back, join the dots, that sort of thing, you will get to that aha moment. You'll get to that tipping point where that light bulb goes on, and that you can know that it's time to complete it. Like if we flip the Hanged Man upside down, he or she actually has the same posture that's the same as the Dancer on the World card. So I feel like there is a completion, a big completion to be had in this situation, but it's going to come when you get that insight, when you have that understanding of the situation. Because we do have the moving on energy here with the Eight of Cups. Now we do have two number 8s in the reading, and 8 is a number of mastery and power. So I feel like you're aware that you've mastered the lesson from the situation, and now you're You're taking your personal power back, where maybe in the past you may have felt quite constricted, or maybe felt a little bit small in this relationship or this partnership, whatever it is. And I think that, you'll be gaining the awareness, the insight that although you might have had a certain amount of fulfillment in the situation for a period of time, there was a fundamental piece missing. That last piece is that Ace of Cups. This is the final cup. You're at the final frontier where you are, you're seeking it. I mean, the Queen of Cups, she carries it as well. You have all these indicators that the missing piece is quite near, but you might need to go on a journey to find it. And I think you probably had a certain amount of emotional fulfillment for a period of time in this situation. If it's a karmic contract, it's usually something that we actually manifest into our physical reality because we need to experience it. So we bring it in, and it connects us for a while so that we actually stay in there to get the lessons. But there's also a time where you need to acknowledge that T for time, it's past its use by date, and it is time to move on. And that's the Eight of Cups energy. And there's that strong indicator of tuning into your intuition to realize that it is done, and maybe you need to turn your back on it and face your true north and actually move on to find that missing cup, move on to more fulfilling situations. Yeah, in these near future, we have Eight of Swords and the King of Swords. Yeah, so a couple of things here. Some of you might be feeling with that Eight of Swords energy a little bit like the victim mentality kind of situation. It can be feeling a little bit negative, maybe even some anxiety and depression, feeling what you've lost, especially if you're still loving this situation. However, the King of Swords is there to bring you the clarity and vision. He's going to help that Hanged Man along as well by helping you see the situation for what it is, so you can connect those dots and see that, maybe it is a good move, this moving on. But I think some of you might be doubting it for a period of time in February and sort of be on the fence a little bit. Now, the King of Swords, he sits right on that cliff edge at such a grand scale. And from there, he has a bird's eye view, a 360-degree view of his empire. And with that perspective, if we're seeing the full situation, seeing the big picture, you can make an informed decision on how to move forward in the situation. The King of Swords can also use that sword to, cut those energetic binds to free yourself from the situation. The King of Swords could also indicate a communication that needs to take place in order to free you from the situation. Maybe you know that you want to move on, but you haven't actually shared that with the other person. You haven't actually shared your truth. You haven't actually expressed that clearly. And maybe it's just from having a clear and frank conversation that you realize that there is a clear path forward and you can move out. That's the energy of the King of Swords. And the reason why he has the butterfly motif there is because through seeing the big picture, through communicating clearly, through sharing your truth, it transforms situations. It can take you from a place of being stuck to a place of freedom. The Eight of Swords is our own mental prison, so it's our own over-analyzing or sitting in the past of the situation. We have to keep remembering to come back to our intuitive centers, like the Queen of Cups, like in this card here, the Eight of Cups, because that is our inner compass that will help guide us. But somebody who's in Eight of Swords energy is bound around their third eye, their heart and their gut. And from that place, you're shut down and you can't access that logic or that intuition, and you might just be reacting or going on emotional triggers. But we have the Empress here, and she is such a beautiful surprise. So she is the hope and promise that if you can free yourself from the situation, there is, creation, love, fertility, maybe even children, marriage on the horizon for you if you want it. I mean, she can take this Ace of Cups and she can turn it into something physical. She can materialize that in the physical realm. Now, she can birth anything really. She can birth a new idea, a new project, but generally, like, she is very fertile. She has the divine feminine energy. She is at a number 3. She's a grand manifestor and creator, and she's the promise of bigger and better things. And I feel like this is predominantly a love or relationships reading. So she's saying there is a new beginning here. Maybe it's with the same person if you feel like you can transition the relationship, but if not, there is new love in this reading. There is new love potential and energy with the Empress, so absolutely love that, guys. She is the jewel in the crown here. Now, the advice from Spirit or Tarot, we have a big theme here of rebalancing, coming into a place of balance. Now, some of you might have been in a situation that was out of balance. Some of you might be overgivers in your relationships, but the universe is telling you now it's time to open yourself to receive, and the Queen of Cups will help you with that. It's really time to balance those scales of life, to get back into a place where, you know, it's even and you're receiving as well as giving. And it may not be until, you know, you actually physically remove yourself from the situation and move on that you really start to heal and restore and feel that true sense of emotional balance. Because the Six of Swords talks about a necessary rite of passage, you know, about leaving a situation that may have caused you tumultuous emotions in order to move on to a place of peace, of calm. We've got 2 number 6s here, so we've got quite a bit of repeated numerology here, and 6 is that number of harmony. You know, some of you may need to make this journey in order to find your joy, your harmony, your peace, your calm, and there's real growth. 6 is also the number of growth. There's real growth to be had in doing that. Now, if possible, we want to leave these swords on the shoreline and carry on to the new chapter with an empty vessel. We don't want to take them with us, because that's when we can keep negative energies in our field and we can start attracting the same kind of energy. But either way, you know, you are moving on to, you know, bigger and better things. You're moving on to emotional fulfillment, to joy, to balance, and, you know, to new love. I just keep coming back to this Ace of Cups, guys. I just feel like it's such a key card in this reading, even though it's the last card I drew. You know, but Temperance is about now, you know, rebalancing those emotional waters of life, becoming solid and stable again, you know, working on your mental, physical and emotional health, and becoming like this equilateral triangle. Doesn't matter which way you're pushed in. If someone pushes one of those areas, you know, you're going to remain stable. You're not going to fall over, you know. And again, we have 2 characters, so much repetition here, 2 characters with their feet right in those emotional waters of life, but they can handle it, you know, because they're balanced, they're even. And there is again the promise of a new dawn, a new day on the horizon here. It's really beautiful energy. So yeah, I love that Temperance energy. It's really the soother, and it says that, you know, there is bigger and better things coming your way, and it is divinely guided, and, you know, there's destiny in this reading with the Wheel of Fortune and the Temperance energy. So that is what's on offer, you know, healing, restoration. You know, at the bottom of the deck we also had the 4 of Swords, which can mean, you know, maybe you may need to take a little bit of a time out after the situation has gone down, after you've left it, if you're going to, or transitioned it. It does link to the 3 of Swords. There may be some hurts that you need to heal, but it's only going to be a momentary rest, a momentary pause, because, you know, you've got 1 battle sword here that, you know, you're ready to pick up and charge forward in your new direction with. So do take the time out if you need to, Cancer. So yeah, really, really beautiful energies. Let's go to your oracle cards to close out. Just bumping the camera there. Okay, well, Shall we start with this one because it's simple? Now this card just says yes, just say yes. And if I open the book, it's 2 pages of yes, 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 yes. And it asks you not to overthink it because the universe says that the answer is yes. Now, somebody in 8 of Swords mentality would overthink everything. But, you know, if there's a burning question, if you've been asking yourself, the universe, do I leave this situation? Do I move on? Well, the universe is saying yes for you. So if that's right for you, that could be your answer. Right, now we have Krishna and Tapas. So I'm just going to read those out for you because I'm not overly familiar with these cards yet. Okay, so Tapas is about self-discipline. You've gotten where you are because of discipline. This will continue to take you where you need to go. While discipline sounds like a heavy word, it is really just committing to becoming the highest version of yourself. The next evolvement will require refinement of your inner strength. You are undergoing a deep transformation, stepping outside your comfort zone, gaining strength and moving through fear. Now is the time to ask yourself the important questions. What practices have I committed to? Is my daily routine serving me? How can I improve it? Where do I need to set boundaries in my life to further align with my truth? So some of you will be going through, you know, a transformation. We can see that, you know, the King of Swords is transformational energy. And, you know, that's great. There is true growth to be had by releasing this situation. So let's go to Krishna now as our final card. Krishna is a god of compassion and love. What does it feel like to be totally enamored, raptured, and captivated with love for the divine? This is the essence of Krishna. You have entered a time where you've realized love is something so much greater than passion between 2 people. Instead, it is the origin of all life, where everything blossoms. You have trusted the greater forces of the universe, and in return it supports you with all-encompassing arms, bracing you like the stars in the sky. Continue trusting in the divine. It is omnipresent. And you are not only part of the universe, but the entire universe exists inside of you. Krishna also reminds you that play is a form of prayer. Some of you may be leaving a situation that was based on lust or passion, and you are now in search of true love, of unconditional love, whether that is self-love or a love that's waiting for you in the future. And the Empress Cancer is here to birth that into the physical reality for you. There is the possibility of true, divine, committed love for you. After you've released a situation that may not be in alignment with you, after you have rebalanced yourself again, you know, the universal balance sheet always adds up. Cancer, I was going to call you karma because we've got the word of fortune here. Always adds up. You know, there is a huge element of divine timing in this reading. It is time for those tables to turn and for those scales to now balance for you. So Cancer, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the reading. It is a big one. I wish you all the best with it this month. Do keep in mind it is a general reading, so you know it may not be for every one of you, but do feel free to leave me a comment because I'm always interested to hear how it resonates for you, and I'll see you back here next month for another reading.